Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video is going to look at a question that links two parts of the specification. The question is, discuss the extent to which conducting primary research is the best way to improve operational performance at smart sofas. So what we're looking at, what you need to know about is conducting market research, and then you need to link that to operational performance. So you need to think quite laterally on a question like this, and this is a question that is popular with AQA on the new specification, saying how will one thing from one part of the specification affect something else. Maybe it would be, how would an increase in capital intensity, i.e. installing new machinery, how would that be expected to affect the morale of the workforce? Okay, so it's one of these questions where we're trying to link two separate parts of the specification and see what the links are between those things. I've been through this quite a few times in this series of videos on essays, but we're going to look for knowledge and understanding that's precise and well selected in relation to the issues in the question, analysis throughout which is well developed and applied effectively to the context, considering a balanced range of issues, and judgment to solutions built effectively on analysis show balance with a clear focus on the question as a whole throughout. So the question is, and it's always a good idea to read the question before you get started, what's the best way to, is primary research the best way to improve operational performance? So, case study. What we're going to be looking for in terms of operational performance is information about productivity, capacity utilization, and number of returns. AQA enjoy giving you, or have a habit of giving, these kind of tables here where they give you some information. In this case, I can see it's just a target, so I don't have the actual data yet, but I can see there's plenty of numbers in this case study, so I'll probably be able to make some calculations. So let's have a quick read of the case study. Smart sofas began trading in the early 1990s. Amir, its founder, carried out extensive research and found there was a gap in the market for low-cost, simply designed furniture. Their range of simple but stylish designs were well received by customers. However, when IKEA launched in the 1990s, smart sofas were no longer able to compete on price, and the company's market share gradually deteriorated. In 2015, the company were on the brink of administration and a radical new strategy was required. Amir decided to target a higher income group of consumers who would pay much more to have their sofa manufactured and delivered. Okay, so here's a reason that primary research would be important. They're targeting a new group of customers. Smart Sofas conducted minimal market research and relied on Amir creating styles that would appeal to high-income consumers. So this company has changed its target market and it hasn't conducted very much market research. So these are arguments that conducting primary research may well be beneficial for this company. Marketing for the new range of product was limited because of cash flow concerns. So this is useful information because marketing was limited, maybe that's had an impact on operational performance. In other words, you've moved into a new market, you're targeting new customers, but you've not really promoted the product to those consumers. So that could be an issue as well. In 2018, Smart Sofas produced 696 sofas from a total capacity of 1,200. Now, whenever AQA give you numbers, often you're able to make calculations, and because you all know all of the calculations in the specification, you'll immediately see that you can calculate capacity utilization from here. Over the course of the year, 87 sofas were returned. So their target number of returns, 0.5%. When they give you data here, AQA are often saying, look, we want you to make this calculation. So if they've had 87 sofas returned out of 696, you can see how they're doing in relation to that target. Many of the 24 staff feel that they lack the skills that they need and are now worried about the company's future. So another number here, and I've got 696 produced by 24 staff, so I know I can calculate labour productivity as well. Sally, Amir's operations director, believes that the best way to improve operational performance would be to conduct primary research. Okay, so let's just make the calculations that we can. When we calculate that 24 staff have produced 696 sofas, that's 29 each, way below their 48 target. 696 divided by 1,200 times 100 gives us 58%, which is their capacity utilisation. And their returns are 12.5% of those sofas that they sold. So they're way above target in all of those things. It doesn't look like we've got information to calculate unit cost here, but we can assume that the cost per unit is going to be higher than it would be if capacity utilisation was being fully utilised. So what's the main problem here? Well, the main problem here is they're not selling enough sofas, isn't it? Because if they were selling more sofas, the capacity utilisation would go up, the labour productivity would rise, but that wouldn't necessarily sort out the returns issue. But that seems to me to be a major issue that would improve their performance. So how would primary market research help? Well, they didn't find out very much about their target market after they've decided to target the new market. And if they did so, if they found out more about their consumer preferences, they could increase their units sold, raising capacity utilisation and labour productivity and lowering unit costs. So other factors that would improve operational performance, well, 24 staff feel that they lack the skills that they need. So that's an indication that maybe some training would make the staff feel better. That might reduce, say, the number of returns if they're producing better quality goods, or could improve their labour productivity. So we've got staff morale and training. Maybe if we improve them, we'd improve operational performance, and the fact that they've conducted insufficient marketing. Maybe a marketing campaign would help them sell more units and improve their operations performance. Okay, so that's my plan, and as I've gone over in previous videos, the examiner is very keen that your essay should be planned in advance so you know the conclusion before you start writing the essay, and then your essay follows a nice structure that you set out in advance. So one of the other things that comes out of the examiner's reports is that if you that you can start without a definition if you explain clearly the terms throughout the essay. So let's have a look at how I put together this essay. So I've started basically with my conclusion, and I'll tell you why I've done that in a second. The main factor that seems to be causing smart sofas' operational problems is a lack of demand for the products, meaning labour productivity and capacity utilisation were below target in 2018. Okay, so what have I done here? I've identified the main problem. Basically, they're not selling enough sofas, and so their operational performance has deteriorated. First of all, I'm making it clear that I know what operational performance is measured by. One measure is labour productivity, another is capacity utilisation. Secondly, the rest of my essay can assume that the lack of the demand is the main problem, and my analysis can focus how to improve that demand. So here's my first paragraph on primary research. Primary research could be the best way to improve operational performance because it is collected firsthand and would be tailored to the needs of smart sofas. Now, what I've done here is I've defined what primary research is. Okay, so I have included a definition, I've just included it in the body of my essay. Moving into a new niche market without conducting such research was a highly risky strategy. While Amir had some success with designs in the past, he does not know this group of consumers or their tastes. Ansoff would categorise this strategy as diversification, targeting new customers with new products, and would recommend conducting extensive market research so as to find the products that would most appeal to this new group. Okay, so at AS you don't learn about Ansoff, it's an A-level concept, but you can see that they're targeting new customers basically, and that would be it's not very wise to start targeting new customers without knowing much about them. So even if you don't know what Ansoff is, hopefully at AS you can read between the lines and pick that up. Therefore, Amir could use primary research to find out what designs appeal to the target market and adjust the product range accordingly. Okay, so that's my a chain of analysis basically looking at why it's risky to start targeting a new set of customers, high income ones, without finding out information about them. Okay, they could also, so this is a connective that says that I'm moving on to another point. They could also contact the 12.5% of customers who have returned their sofas and find out exactly why they returned the product. Now, this is a good strategy to use. You're showing, they haven't put 12.5% in the case study. They put that 87 sofas were returned out of 696. So this is showing the examiner that I'm using the data that they're providing me to come to some conclusions and make, so they could also contact the 12.5% of customers who've returned their sofas and find out exactly why they returned the product and alter the product so this does not occur in the future. Therefore, primary research would allow Smart Sofas to find out more about their customers' tastes, improve the product and sell more units, helping the company to improve its capacity utilisation of only 58%. Again, I'm using the information in the case study. This is good application that the examiner will like, and I've used this final sentence to link back to the question, which is about how primary research will improve operational performance. Okay, so that's my paragraph on primary research. Now I need to look at the other factors that might improve operational performance, and to introduce my paragraph I've used a however, showing the examiner that I'm looking at the other side of the argument. There are other methods that could be utilised to improve operational performance. Okay, so this is where I'm getting in that balanced analysis that I need for a top-level conclusion, top-level answer. The first would be to improve training. Many staff have complained that they lack the skills that they need. This may have demotivated workers who feel unskilled. This may demotivate workers, as workers who feel unskilled are likely to not be having their security or esteem needs met on Maslow's hierarchy. I don't think that's the best English, but you can see what I'm getting at here. The demotivated workers, they're not having their needs met on Maslow's hierarchy. Whenever you're talking about motivation and demotivated staff, it's always good to link it to a theorist. Providing staff with better training may help to improve both the low labour productivity, currently way below target at 29. So now I've shown the examiner another calculation that I've put in, and help motivate them, as Hertzberg identified training as a motivating factor. So again, I've tried to use the theorist to back up what I'm saying. This would come under the selection of range of knowledge that's well selected in relation to the issues in the question. Secondly, Smart Sofas should promote the new range of furniture, as the lack of marketing may have contributed to low brand awareness and therefore few sales. Increasing demand for the product would increase capacity utilisation, labour productivity, and help to reduce unit costs, as the existing fixed costs would be spread across more output. Okay, so again, I'm linking back to the question, in this case by analysing how increasing demand through the promotion of new furniture would help to improve operational performance in terms of capacity, utilisation, labour productivity and reducing unit costs. The examiner should be very, very confident now that I know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about operational performance. So what's my conclusion to the essay? In conclusion, I believe that engaging in a promotional activity would be the best way to improve operational performance in the short term. This is because it would raise brand awareness in their new market and may lead to an increase in sales. Okay, so the question was, is market research, conducting primary research, the best way to improve the operational performance? Well, in the short term, I'm saying no. I'm saying that a promotional campaign would be, and I've backed that up by saying it would raise brand awareness and lead to an increase in sales. However, in the long term, a combination of primary markets research and better training will be essential. This is because it will allow Amir to target his designs much more effectively at higher income consumers, and the final product will also be of a higher quality, leading to more sales and fewer returns. So to get some balance into the conclusion, what have I done? Well, I've said that in the short term, the most important thing is promotion. That should increase demand. But in the long term, yes, conducting primary market research will be the best way to improve operational performance. So I hope that gives you some ideas if a similar question to this comes up. But it's a really good idea to look at these different areas on the specification and how one thing might link to another.